There are always winners and losers in the Trump administration, mainly losers. It's always a Hunger Games going on for battle, for control, for daddy's attention and affection. And we're watching it on full display over the Epstein scandal. A couple of months ago, Dan Bongino, remember him, the Deputy Director of the FBI, he said, over my dead body, it's either me or Pam Bondi. And Kash Patel said it's either me or Pam Bondi because of the way the Epstein files were being handled and not being released. Because remember, they're right-wing podcasters who are now play acting as FBI director and deputy director. Well, guess who won? And it wasn't Kash Patel and it wasn't Dan Bongino, who have now both been thrown under the bus by Donald Trump because the winner apparently is Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. Yes, she's won the epic battle to try to distract the American people from the failures of the Trump administration and their epic cover-up of sex traffickers and child sex molesters and best friends of Donald Trump, Epstein and Maxwell. You're on Legal AF Thursday. I'm Michael Popok. Let's get to it. Every time you see, I don't know, Stephen Miller or Pete Hegseth or Todd Blanche trotted out to some city to declare that Donald Trump has taken over another blue city. It's going to return D.C. to America. They're going to return California to America. Every time you see that, that's just a big, bold, fat admission that they're losing the Epstein battle, one of their own making. Sometimes it's the crime and the cover-up. And Donald Trump has been doing everything to cover up the fact that he's best friends with one indicted and one convicted child sex trafficker. And so Donald Trump is trying to figure out how to distract the best. And every diversion that he uses, let's blame federal judges for not releasing the grand jury transcripts, gets met with federal judges, including Judge Berman just yesterday, pointing the finger back at Donald Trump and saying, release the damn files. You're barking up the wrong tree. And going further and saying, you coming to us to release the Epstein files, which you say are the grand jury materials, is an epic diversion. You sit on the Epstein files. You have the power to release the Epstein files. Now they're playing cat and mouse or phony cat and mouse with Congress about you release them. No, you release them. I'll give them to you. You release them. Oh, is it a time for recess? That's been Donald Trump lately. But we just had testimony by the former Attorney General, Bill Barr, who testified to the Oversight Committee that, Pam Bondi has the power to release all the Epstein files. Every attorney general does. She just doesn't want to. Just like she's been sitting on volume 2 of the Jack Smith report about what really happened at both Mar-a-Lago and the DC election interference case. You haven't seen that either, right? That's been trashed. That's been burned alive. And so you have all of this diversionary tactics. And the more the walls are closing in on Donald Trump about Epstein, the more manic and rogue he gets in his abuse of power. Lord knows what's going to happen next when the documents start coming out of the Oversight Committee, including client lists and things with his name on it. Well, he'll have to start a war. This is totally wag the dog. He's running out of blue cities and blue distractions to take on. You know, you got Pam Bondi today, with her arms folded and her foot tapping about blue states. Oh, there's 37 blue states and blue cities. You better stop being sanctuary cities. And they all said collectively, there's symbols in every language. You can fill in the blank. No, we're not going to stop we're not going to help the federal government execute federal law. That's not our job as states and cities, and we're not going to do that. But every time she does that, and every time Stephen Miller, along with Pete Hegseth, goes to some park, and says, "Oh, we federalized D.C. because there's 90-year-old hippies." This was Stephen Miller's 90-year-old hippies who don't even live here. They should go home and take a nap. You know who should go home and take a nap? You know who looks terrible? Have you seen yourself in the mirror, Gollum? I mean, like the fact that you're criticizing other human beings and other Americans for expressing their First Amendment rights is disgusting and depraved. But what else do we expect for Stephen Miller? Let me talk about the epic battle for control. I don't know why people are fighting turf battles and power struggles in the Trump administration, right? It's like fighting for a different deck chair on the Titanic. No, I want to sit there. No, I want to sit there. It doesn't matter where you sit. You're all going down in the annals of history. You may all be prosecuted once this administration is over. Pam Bondi, go look at history. Attorney generals have gone to jail. See Nixon's attorney general. So Dan Bongino, right-wing podcaster, not qualified to be the deputy director of the FBI. Yes, he was a Secret Service agent, but, listen, I like, my local cop on the beat here, but I don't think he should be the FBI director. And so he gets the job, but he hates the job. I mean, he's been on so many other right-wing podcasts at Fox News saying, I really don't like the job. I stare at the walls all day. I don't know what to do. I don't like the job. All right. And then there was this battle because in February, there was the release of a memo. In July, there was a release of a memo by co-branded FBI and DOJ. Nobody signed it and no date on it. That's a lot of bravery. In which they said, well, we're closing the file. It's closeout memo. We're closing the file on Epstein. We're not releasing anything. We don't think he died by suicide. We don't think he died other than by suicide, sorry. And there's no client list. Good night, everybody. And Bongino was like livid because he's been a right-wing podcaster making tons of money trying to tell people there's a conspiracy. So he didn't like that memo. And then Patel, same thing. He didn't like that memo. I thought we were supposed to drain the swamp. I didn't think we were supposed to be the swamp, whatever. And so both of them drew a line in the sand, thinking that their station with Donald Trump was stronger than it was. And they said, if Bongino goes, Kash Patel said, I go. Well, start packing your bags because apparently Pam Bondi has won that epic struggle. How do I know? Well, there was just an announcement. I'll make it easy. You tell me. There was just an announcement that there's a new co-deputy director of the FBI. A new co-deputy director of the FBI? I didn't realize that position was open. We had a deputy director of the FBI. His name was Dan Bongino. But no, we got a new guy coming in who's formerly is currently the Missouri Attorney General. And they're welcoming the Missouri Attorney General to be the Deputy Attorney General, the Deputy FBI Director, and all that Dan Bongino had to say about his job being cut in half, or basically this guy being brought in to babysit him. All he had to say about that was welcome, and 3 American flags. So that's what he had to say about Andrew Bailey coming in. Now, Andrew Bailey was on the short list to be the Attorney General. But apparently, according to reporting in the New York Times, when Bailey met with Trump likes big personalities. And Bailey's very, sort of quieter, on the quieter side, less controversial. And so that wasn't good for him to be Attorney General. But now to come babysit Bongino out the door. So here's the prediction. Kash Patel's not long for this world. I mean, as FBI director. Dan Bongino either. And you can see that the FBI is really being directed by and controlled almost completely by the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche and Bondi. So Bondi Blanche, the law firm of Bondi Blanche or Blanche and Bondi, have now taken out effectively Bongino and decapitated Patel. All over the Epstein scandal. And again, we're apparently no closer to releasing the files than we were yesterday. These are the files that were supposed to be released in January and February. We are now moving into September. Now, the next move, if we're predicting the next chess move by Donald Trump, the next move, because he needs something explosive and diversionary. It's based on what finally comes out through either lawsuits that have been filed or the Oversight Committee. What could it be? Well, we haven't heard much about the recordings of the video and audio of Ghislaine Maxwell's interview with Todd Blanche several weeks ago, have we? Now, they shouldn't be editing them, should they? They shouldn't be cutting and pasting them. So they were ready the day they were completed. Why haven't they been posted? Why hasn't the White House or the FBI or the Department of Justice set up a Dropbox or a link for us to go listen to the 12 hours of the Maxwell tapes? Why not? Either they're not as helpful as Trump had hoped. I mean, that's what happens when you're waiting on a convicted child sex trafficker and child abuser to vouch for your credibility and your own reputation. I mean, that's where Trump is right now. So either they're not that great or they're just waiting for the timing, right? Hold it. What do we got? What do we got on the shelf? It's like weapons. It's like James Bond weapons, right? He used to drive that, whatever it was, Jaguar, later become a BMW, and it was all like tricked out. it was all tricked out with like, he pushes this button and there's like a oil slick comes out the back, pushes this button and like explosives come out the front, machine gun comes out the side, turns into a helicopter and flies away. These are weapon systems. And Donald Trump sees the things that he holds on to as being weaponized. So he's weaponizing right now, according to my observation, the Maxwell recordings. And he'll release them when he's good and ready and when he needs maximum diversion. Now release. That's the only holdup. Or they're not as good as Donald Trump thought they were going to be. Maybe she was a little wishy-washy on some of the plane rides. Maybe she's a little wishy-washy. Maybe memories have faded about the island and Donald Trump's participation there. About the hanging outs between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago and in New York. Memories may have faded there a little bit. Maybe she held back a little. Maybe she's spoon-feeding Donald Trump because she hasn't gotten that pardon yet. Or he's holding it to drop as a big bomb when he needs it. Because by hook or by crook, these Epstein files are coming out and Donald Trump is running out of abuses of the American people he can use to take our eye off the ball and change the narrative. He'll never change the narrative. We're here together on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. And until my next report, come to Legal AF for everything you need at the intersection of law and politics. And then come to Legal AF Substack, where we do real-time reporting with lives and post all of the documents in the case. Only one place, Legal AF, the Substack. Until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.